Hello and welcome to Racers Now. So the flat season is not well underway, but it's underway, and we're already looking forward to the classics here on Racers Now. We love the Guineas, the anti-post, the big flat races, and there is none bigger in the eyes of many or even most flat racing fans than the Derby. Massive, massive race of importance for the industry, for stallions and breeding, etc. You name it. The Derby is the place to be on the 1st of June 2024. And there's only one place to start, really. And this is going to be an ongoing theme of the season, I feel. And that place to start is with City of Troy. He is already the talking horse. I've done a lot of talking about him on the channel already, and there'll be plenty of other people talking about City of Troy in the weeks and months to come. A properly exciting horse to look forward to. He is already the anti-post favourite for the Derby at 15-8, which is only 9 weeks away now, so it's going to come up on us fast. There's plenty of trials to be had between now and then. City of Troy, I've said this before, and I'm going to stick with it. He's not a Derby horse in my eye. He is very, very fast. He is quick. He is electric. He's exciting. But what do I know? Aidan O'Brien has already said the plan is Guineas, Derby, then potential dirt races in America for City of Troy. He's clearly their number one choice for both of the male classics in the first part of the season. He's bred to do the job. His mother ran in an Oaks. His father is a US Triple Crown winner, Justified, the sire of the moment that they're all talking about. And there's already been plenty traded on City of Troy at 6-4 or less on the exchange. 9 weeks away. He's never raced over further than 7 furlongs, yet they're trading him at 6-4 with those question marks potentially about staying. But again, what do I know? Aidan O'Brien disagrees with me. The owners clearly disagree with me. The markets disagree with me. I just don't think he's a Derby horse. I may or may not be proven wrong in the next 9 weeks. And as I've been saying for a while, and this is maybe in defence of City of Troy's chance, you don't really need to stay a mile and a half to win the Derby nowadays, in my opinion. There just isn't as many genuinely middle distance bred horses in this day and age, particularly outside the confines of Coolmore or Ballydoyle. They seem to me to be the only people breeding Derby types, hence why they are favourites and win it, more often than not every single year. The Barwi has never been remotely close to producing a Derby winner, in my opinion. He is the Godolphin sire of the moment, their lead sire. Frankel has and can produce Derby winners, but he's often sent speedier mares in time. So, you see a lot of some of Frankel's best horses have been, more effective over a mile and 10 furlongs. Now, yes, he has bred Epsom Classic winners himself, and could well do again this year. He's a phenomenon when it comes to breeding. And we've also got the likes of See the Stars. I mean, he sires 8 of the 72 entries in the Derby at this point, but they are all bigger than 66-1. But in defence of See the Stars, and I'm no breeding expert, I know I'm touching on it here, got a passing interest. In fairness to See the Stars, he doesn't often produce 2-year-olds, so hence why they're not normally high up in the anti-post lists at this far out from the Derby. So, talking of the mighty Galileo, this is his final crop, his final chance to sire yet another Derby winner. He's got 6 entries at this stage. It was a small final crop as his ill health started being more prevalent towards the end of his career. And 3 of those 6 entries at this stage are, of course, trained by Aidan O'Brien. They are sure to stay the trip. And that should be really the starting point when you're looking for an anti-post bet in this year's Derby. O'Brien, as always, there's 72 entries at this stage. He trains 17 of them. There's no surprises there. He also trains 6 of the first 9 in the market as we speak. No surprises there. Grosvenor Square is the one that I like, and he is the one that I'm putting up. I like him. He's 25-1. He's by Galileo. He's a maiden winner on September the 12th. Then he was quickly chucked in to a Group 2 Beresford Stakes on his second start, just 12 days later. That's the key. 12 days after his debut, he was put into this Beresford Stakes, a race that Aidan O'Brien has owned over the years. He was third in that race and already looking like he wanted much further. Given a month or so off after that, so he had 2 starts in 12 days, given a month or so off, onto his final start of the season, this Grosvenor Square at Leopardstown in a 9 furlong Group 3, which he dominated from start to finish. No messing from the front, won with all sorts of authority and much in hand, and marked himself down as a proper Derby contender, in my opinion. Likely to be seen in one of the usual Derby trials in Ireland, the Derrenstown Stud, possibly in April or May. Then all roads lead to Epsom, surely, for this Grosvenor Square. He just stood out to me. Big, imposing horse, big galloper, looked nimble round the bend at Leopardstown. I just thought he screamed Derby horse the way he bounded clear. The further they went, the better. He's had a try on testing ground, but usually, that he will surely get better ground as well, which he's going to get at Epsom, hopefully in early June. So yeah, Grosvenor Square is one that I do like at this stage at 25-1. We're betting on potential. He's only won 2 starts. He's certainly not won at the top level like the likes of City of Troy, Henry Longfellow, Diego Velasquez tried in a Group 1 and failed, etc. But at this stage, that's what we're looking for. Bigger prices, more question marks about them. And if City of Troy, doesn't stay as well enough to win the Derby, as I suspect he won't, he's making the market for you. He is an intended runner. If all goes well in the Guineas, and I'm sure if City of Troy even finishes in the top 3 in the Guineas, he'll have a go at the Derby. But he'll make the market, and I think he's worth taking on, definitely. He's 15-8 now. Imagine what price City of Troy will be for the Derby if he was to win the Guineas on May the 4th at Newmarket. He could be even money for the Derby for his first try on anything over a mile. I think that is well worth taking on. Of similar profile to Grosvenor Square, Coolmore also own the likes of Los Angeles and Oceans of Dreams. They've had 1 or 2 starts each. Unbeaten, the pair of them. Los Angeles has had 2 starts. This Ocean of Dreams, just the 1 start. Los Angeles actually won a softish looking end of season Group 1 at Saint Cloud over in France on very soft ground. He's 20-1. They're both 20-1 apiece, actually. I mean, Los Angeles might be interesting. He might run in one of the Derrenstown Stud trials or something similar like that. Yes, they have 2 back-end Group 1s over in France, way into October, always on heavy ground, always well represented by Aidan O'Brien, etc. But you just never know until they come into their 3-year-old season how quite good they are. And Los Angeles very much fits that profile for me. And of course, Aidan O'Brien also trains at the moment the second favourite, which is Henry Longfellow. He's best price 8-1 at the moment, unbeaten in 3 starts. He's done very, very little wrong. But he's very much under the down a little bit down in the pecking order in comparison to City of Troy. By Dubai, Bawi, and out of an Oaks winner himself, this Henry Longfellow by Minding. Who won the Oaks and won the Guineas in her time. He's certainly bred for the job, but he does look speedy enough to me, this Henry Longfellow, and connections have already said that he may well go down the French Guineas and French Derby route. And remember, the French Derby isn't a proper Derby because it's only over 10 furlongs and not 12. The leading Godolphin contender or hope at this stage is an Ancient Wisdom, who is 12-1 and the Racing Post Trophy winner from last year. That was over a mile at Doncaster on heavy ground in the middle of October, as often happened. A race that pretty much fell apart, I think, on the day, with 2 O'Brien runners not enjoying the stalls process. One of them was withdrawn. The other one, Diego Velasquez, was upset in the stalls by his stablemate and ran pretty poorly when the stalls did eventually open. And Aidan O'Brien is on record saying that they probably shouldn't have ran Diego Velasquez that day. And he did run pretty poorly and finished down the field. He was kind of joint favourites on the day with Ancient Wisdom. He kind of fell in his lap. I don't think the horses Ancient Wisdom beat that day are up to much. I don't like the Doncaster form, but Ancient Wisdom did look good when winning the Group 3 Autumn Stakes at Newmarket before that, a race that Charlie Appleby has dominated in recent years, winning with Caribus, who went on to win a classic on his next season. And last year, Ancient Wisdom won it as well. A really nice performance in that Autumn Stakes, and the form has already been boosted by the 4th that day this season. Before that, there was a third behind Rosalian for Ancient Wisdom in July in a very good Ascot listed race that has worked out really, really well. And as you know, I really do like Rosalian for the 2,000 guineas. Ancient Wisdom for me has Dante written all over him. We might find out how much of a Derby contender he is at York in the middle of May. And he does look like a typical Charlie Appleby Dante runner and possible Dante winner. Clive Cox thinks he's got a Derby horse on his hand in Royal Lodge winner Ghostwriter. But he's by Invincible Spirit and surely a questionable stayer, even in this day and age where I think you can win a Derby without being a stayer. Yeah, by Invincible Spirit, who's, best offspring have all been over a mile or less. That's Ghostwriter. He's around 25-1 in the market. Without question, the most interesting and noteworthy entry at this stage is Justin Milano, who could well be the first ever Japanese trained runner in the Derby. He's got an entry at this stage. And with everything that nation, Japan, are doing all over the world stage, from Saudi Arabia to Maidan to the Breeders' Cup, you certainly wouldn't put it past them to turn up with a Derby contender. I mean, this Justin Milano is unbeaten in 2 starts over in Tokyo. I mean, and who would have thought it? Look at his breeding. Justin Milano, who would have thought at the 2011 Numthorpe winner, Margot Did, who was ridden by Hayley Turner in the Numthorpe, a 5 furlong Group 1 at York, would give birth to a horse with an Epsom Derby entry. Never mind a horse that's trained in Japan with an Epsom Derby entry. It could be a truly remarkable story. It really, really could for the racing industry. It would be great for the game, even if Justin Milano were to line up at Epsom. Never mind win. So watch this space. It would be great if he was an intended runner. But the Japanese obviously aren't messing around. He's been entered. I mean, that shows signs of intent at the very, very least. So look out for that one, Justin Milano. The most overpriced horse, as we speak, in my opinion, has to be Deepone for Paddy Twomey. If you fancy Grosvenor Square, like I do for the Derby, he's 25 to 1 at the moment. This Deepone has to be of interest. He beat 3 Aidan O'Brien horses in the aforementioned Group 2 Beresford Stakes last September, a race that Aidan O'Brien has won God knows how many times. He actually won it 11 years on the bounce, the Beresford Stakes, from 2011 to 2021, with all sorts of good horses. Saxon Warrior was one of them, for example. So for this Deepone, for any horse not trained by Aidan O'Brien to win the Beresford Stakes is noteworthy in itself. There was 3 contenders of Aidan O'Brien in that race that day. Grosvenor Square was one of them. So to have Deepone available at 50 to 1 and Grosvenor Square available at 25 to 1, and when they last met on Deepone's last appearance, Deepone came out in front. Pretty, there was no excuses for anyone else. Fair and square. 50 to 1 Deepone, 25 to 1 Grosvenor Square. Make of that what you will. I will back both of them. Ran a solid race from an unfavourable position in a Leopardstown Group 2 on his penultimate start. That was before the Beresfords. That was over a shorter trip. He was kind of caught wide. He didn't really get properly into the race, and he finished 4th that day behind Diego Velasquez, who was pretty impressive. And then, changed the tactics in the Beresford to the front on this Deepone. No messing around. Out the gates, the plan was clearly to go for the front, and Aidan O'Brien horse tried to get to the front. This Deepone was having none of it. Settled well, kicked on up the Curragh Straight in that Beresford, and never looked like being passed, to be honest with you. Pretty much still on the bridle at the furlong pole with everything else in behind him. Well at it. Won with a fair bit in hand that day. 50 to 1 to me does look massive at this stage. And if you read the comments from Paddy Twomey, and as you always have to do with any Irish horse that isn't trained by Aidan O'Brien, you always have to check what the intention is. Like One Look, for example, in the potentially the 1,000 guineas, also trained by Paddy Twomey. They've always got the option to stay at home for the Irish guineas, the Irish Derby. But it was mentioned that this Deepone and his owners want an Epsom Derby horse. This could be it. So I do think 50 to 1 does look massive at this stage about Deepone. As with all Derby contenders, we are very likely to see them in trials, either in Ireland or in the UK in the lead up, in April and May. So hopefully we see Deepone, and hopefully he does indeed have visions or ambitions to go to Epsom in early June, because that 50 to 1 to me looks absolutely massive. After that one, we're now into the realm of untapped potential. Once or twice race maiden winners at massive prices. 1 or 2 of them will surely come out the woodwork and stamp their presence in the Derby anti-post markets in the coming weeks. It's just identifying what those horses are. But at the moment, with the 2 selections I've got a decent amount of evidence to go with. A Group 2 winner, a Group 3 winner on the breeding. They've got with the trainers as well in the connection. So the 2 bets for the official Racers Now selections. And I have cleared this with SD. I know he's not on this video, but it is me versus SD for the flat season. See who comes out in front for the little side bet that we've got. The 2 selections will be, and these are 1-point win selections. I'm not doing each way anti-post. You'll get better terms closer to the time. Grosvenor Square, 25 to 1 for the Epsom Derby, and Deepone, 50 to 1 for the Epsom Derby. So as usual, here on Racers Now, we've got all the big anti-post races covered, particularly those classics. starting with the Guineas, then on to Epsom in early June. So keep it here on Races Now, and thanks for watching.